right. So, it's been a little few days since I've done one of these, and I don't actually have anything planned to talk about today, but figured the weather's beautiful and might as well. And yeah, see where it takes us. So, what's been going on? Working on my project, obviously field tests for the technical interaction project was the last thing I kind of recorded and talked about. And I think all in all, it was really successful in terms of I actually got it out, didn't fall apart. Obviously, there are issues with the onboard computer system and just linking up the hotspotting. So that needs to be worked on. Ideally, getting something cool going on a Raspberry Pi just to save weight and not have to take out the Mac Mini, but also good to get the Mac Mini running. So it's got more power, we can run better interactive installations with that. But for the first project, the interactive message wall, you can get that running pretty quick here. And I've been doing some tweaks to the design of it, but also like what it's about. One big thing I came up with, actually with the help of my partner, was the idea that maybe rather than just open messages about anything, the idea of like prompting users with messages to a certain goal, right? So thinking about it in the context of critical mass, obviously when it comes to cycling in Toronto and issues involved there, Doug Ford is definitely kind of public enemy number one in terms of Bill 212 and his public, statements and attacks on cycling infrastructure, the damage that'll do. So I was thinking like that's a good way, maybe a good place, a good direction to go, at least with the initial message wall. That way it adds an element too, like thinking a lot, I had a friend bring up the idea of like what happens with these messages after the fact. And I was like, well, originally the idea was just in the style of tactics where they pop up and then recede, and temporary autonomous zones where they, pop up and recede before the hegemonic powers and the systems in control can co-opt or crush it. Just the idea that these messages are there during the duration of the protest and then they're gone, and the ephemerality of that. But I think too can have a lot more impact if there's some sort of lasting, like the idea was, I'll document it and that'll, create that lasting impact. But I'm definitely going to document it, but I think came with the idea. So when it came with the idea to focus things like messages prompted towards Doug Ford, it was like, okay, well, that gives us something pretty clear we can do with it, right? Like collect all these messages and then display them live on the wall during the ride, whether it's on the TV or the projector. And then you can compile those messages after the fact, and they're all anonymous, and then compile them all, and in some way, using the technology that we have lots of technology in our hands, you take all those messages and email them, or in some way, direct them digitally right to Doug Ford. So we serve two purposes: on site, everyone sees their messages coming together. It's building community. It's people speaking their minds and seeing it. And then after the fact, you can actually set it out there tactically at the, at the source of our ire. So I don't know. I think that was very, I don't know, clever sort of development in the concept. I think it adds like a whole another layer that's pretty important and useful, and you know, another way to experiment with the platform and what it can do, and this whole process of interactive tactical media. So it's pretty exciting, like working through that, and obviously, yeah, this process of research creation, critical making. Like, you can do all the reading and theoretical research you want, but things really don't start to appear and arise until you start working through it and feeling it and playing with it and putting it into the world. So yeah, that's a big main development. So still working vibe coding. I've transitioned from using ChatGPT to Claude because a lot of people are saying Claude's a lot better at working with code, and so far it seems to be the case. I mean, it's pretty impressive what I could do with ChatGPT, but this, working with Claude, it's even more. Probably gonna explore some even more options. Looking at like Cursor and some other programs that are out there. The Cursor, I can't remember. But yeah, I don't know, one step at a time, just kind of experimenting and iterating. And, it's an iteration on the prototype, the systems that I'm working with, but, it's all an iteration of me and my creative process and my art and how I work and how I function, how I learn. And just like with the physical artifacts, prototype, oh man, it's beautiful out here by the water. Gotta love it. Just like my process, or just like the prototype, my process is also an iterative creation, right? I am an iterative creation. Holy smokes, it's loud. Hey. So many noises. Hopefully this is all audible. Guess we'll find out later, but yeah. I don't know, when I think about it like that, it makes even more sense. It adds more gravity to what I'm doing here. So it's good to keep that in mind. Yes, this project is very much about a thing and creating an artifact and exploring theory, but at the end of the day, I'm working on myself as well. And I never want to stagnate. That's the whole reason I'm doing a master's. I want to learn. I want to grow. I want to become a better, smarter, more informed and just human being, person, community member. So yeah, I am as much a part of this as anything else. So I guess that's a big part of this journaling process as well. Learning practicing how to speak and convey my thoughts and words on the fly. I mean, it's a very important skill, communication. So that's part of what I'm working on here. And hopefully these are improving, getting better and more watchable. Hopefully people are getting stuff out of it. Maybe not. Maybe it's all just for me. But yeah, it's an interesting time. So yeah, when it comes to the prototype, just gonna keep plugging away the message wall, tighten up those things on the actual physical system that I need to, the onboard computer. Some weatherproofing would be good. May find some ways to shed a bit of weight, just make it more stable, quicker to set up, all that. Just keep plugging away at it. I'd like to get this message wall fully functional. Ideally by the end of the month, maybe I can actually roll it out for a critical mass. That would be pretty cool. But we'll see. Yeah, I have a couple other things that I want to try in the system, like other projects. There was basically I was creating a video game engine in Touch Designer where you can navigate through a space, and I took the particle system of the dredge that I made for a previous project for the dredge redux project. And you can navigate through that and hit checkpoints that would affect the particle system, which I thought was pretty cool. And the idea that I'm thinking and toying with is if I can get my hands on some sort of 3D scan of the old Ontario place before it was leveled to make way for a mega spa, maybe I could turn that into some sort of basic first-person video game that people can navigate through and explore, and have it relate to what's going on in terms of the West Island being completely demolished to make way for a mega spa, and respond to that in a way. And then using the platform, be able to exhibit and play it there on location at that site, and have other people contribute in some way. Yeah. So that's another one I'm toying with. The big hurdle right now is just finding and getting a 3D model I can use. There's a professor at TMU who had made a scan of the West Island, actually before the trees all were removed and then after the trees were all removed. So trying to see if I can get access to that model. Otherwise, there is a model on publicly available on the government GIS website, which I was trying to work with, but I couldn't get the scale, I couldn't get it imported properly into Touch Designer. I tried a bunch of different ways, so that's something I'm working on, trying to figure out. Who knows, might have to shelve the whole thing if I can't get a model. Maybe I'll model it myself, I don't know. But yeah, that's the next sort of prototype demo on the docket to work on. A lot of the base work's already done. I did that in class last semester, so yeah, hopefully I can pull it together, but we'll see. And then also thinking about and working towards some sort of third exhibition. I like things that come in threes, so I'm trying to think of a third thing, thinking more of like a group interactive, playful experience, like some sort of tracking wall, like body tracking system, particles, classic sort of thing you see a lot of in the interactive world, but just beside you. But that is also tactical and responsive in a way to something going on in the city. But I think also not everything has to be outright on the offensive. Sometimes I think, I don't know how to fully articulate this yet, but I think also just the idea of play. Oh my God, this trail is so bumpy. Just the idea of play in general and having people be able to experiment and create in low stakes, and also gather together. Can be really important. And, I don't know. That's something I'm looking a bit more into, doing a bit more research towards. Maybe try and put something together, create something so we can start playing around with it and see, this idea I have in my head, this theory actually holds up, or just turns into a space for, messing around, and I don't know, just turns into a game without any, backing. I don't know. This is why we do these things. This is why we create and exhibit and experiment and iterate, prototype, so that we can see what happens. As they say, fuck around and find out. So, yeah, I don't know, those are some of the main updates on what's going on right now. Otherwise, I'm trying to pick away at my writing on my paper, but, especially in the summertime, it's hard to want to sit down and write, but I've been successful last couple weekends just blocking out like 3 hours to go sit in my comfy chair, just stream consciousness type, especially because I've been so deep in the making space and frame of mind that just writing about the process of making. And I guess I'm doing the same thing right here, right now, talking about it on camera. And actually what I discovered just today is I can take these videos and put them into Notebook LM, which is an AI service meant for compiling research. And because the videos are on YouTube, they get transcribed by YouTube, and then Notebook LM can actually access and read those transcriptions, and it can actually give me summaries of the videos. So I put my 3 field test videos in there, and it gave me a nice, very concise, very on point summary of all the things I mentioned and findings basically from the field test. So that was really cool. So I might try that with more of these videos, you know, as an alternative to just writing everything out. You know, I find it a lot easier to just verbalize like this. So something alongside the project in this, like I said, this process of research creation that I am very much a part of and growing as a part of, you know, just working on finding ways to leverage AI to my advantage, to make things easier, faster, better, more concise, you know, especially going through this process. It's a lot, working through a lot of different things, thinking about a lot of different things, writing a bunch of different things. So trying to leverage AI, like I said, vibe coding. I've also put my writing, like the conference paper that I wrote, the zine, put that into ChatGPT and had it summarize it. And then because it's got that in its memory and it's analyzed the paper, it can actually, like, I can converse with it and ask it questions like, you know, do you think I'm on track? I got Chat, based on that conference paper and all my like background research, got it to help me formulate a outline for my major paper. You know, able to brainstorm things with it. You know, it's not the most creative, like, but it can be a helpful tool in kind of coming up with new ideas, or at least give me a place to start thinking about new ideas. You know, I can ask you questions about, you know, do you think I'm on track? What do you think of this? Again, it's not the most creative, but like, you can glean some insights out of that. So yeah, it's pretty cool, pretty interesting. Trying to think of what else I've done using the AI. Yeah, it's been good. Just summarizing thoughts and just trying to find new ways to harness this technology. Like, I'm doing a master's in digital media after all. Might as well explore as many different avenues of digital media as possible and use these tools to my advantage, you know. But at the same time, still keeping in mind and considering the ethical and societal concerns, right? I think it can be really easy with tech and stuff to just get sucked into all the cool bells and whistles, but you know, at the end of the day, we got to consider, you know, where these tools are coming from, what they're doing, what they mean, and how they're being leveraged in society as a whole and the effect they have on society. So I'm trying to stay cognizant of that. So I don't know, working through a lot of different things. I started compiling stuff on my website, documentation of the process and whatnot. So you can check that out at jklink.com/TIP and see some of my other older work there as well. But yeah, all in all, I think that's a pretty good summary that, you know, took most of this ride. So yeah, if you watch this, thanks for watching, and hopefully the weather around you and your day is as nice as this. But if not, sunny days hopefully are ahead. Bye.